Welcome back to another miniature episode of the NC Squared Conspiracy Podcast. My name is Simon.
I'm Chance.
We've coined on the name
Minicast.
Minicasts over minisodes because that sounds too much like Minnesota. So
Yeah.
we don't need that.
So your intro is all weird.
Yeah, so it's going to be minicasts. Anyhow, well, I said mini episode.
I know.
I fully enunciated. But this is a
defeats the
minicast.
purpose.
The minicasts are just ideas that we have, sometimes even just like spitballing or getting word out there. But it's something that maybe we think probably definitely isn't worth the effort of a full episode.
But worth talking about.
But worth talking about, because what's not worth talking about? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Sure. Thanks to our patrons, of course, who make this all possible. Thanks for the listeners for, well,
Listening.
listening. That's great.
For bearing our...
Yeah, anyhow, I'm going to get into it here. And this is rough. And also, this is brutal.
All right, let's go.
What do you know about the Victorian era?
Yeah.
Yep. What do you know about it?
Let's move on. People built big houses. People
Okay.
shot people in the streets.
All right.
Duels.
Okay.
And women worked in the house and babies were... Well, they were babies.
Well, good. And they were babies, yeah. Well, the life expectancy wasn't super long at the time. This is true.
Yeah. That's sad.
The Victorian era is actually when Queen Victoria reigned over the United Kingdom. Which,
I did not know that part.
yes, which is from June 20, 1837 to January 22nd, 1901,
Okay.
for the record.
I was thinking mainly Red Dead Redemption 2.
57% of children died before they hit the age of 5 during the Victorian era.
Okay.
Okay.
High mortality rate.
This was, yeah, well, that's not funny, but it's not funny, but it's getting me into this, and it's not funny either, but we're going to talk about it. So this came from a video that I watched on laundry mangles, or a laundry wringer, as some people may call it, or have heard it. Two different things. Apparently.
Basically, what is it? Just a giant steel roller?
Well, actually, you know what? Let me read you what Google says. A mangle is a hand-operated device with rollers for wringing laundry, while a wringer is a device for drying laundry consisting of two rollers, between which the wet laundry is squeezed or wrung.
Okay, so you're
those two
basically
things
squeezing the water
are the
out.
same thing. First off, it just described a mangle and a wringer is exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
That's Google for you. But what it should have said is that a wringer is a device for drying laundry consisting of two rollers between which the wet laundry is squeezed or wrung, and a mangle was designed for killing babies. And killing babies, and also women and children during the Victorian era.
That's very different descriptions.
Yeah. This idea, we'll call it a fact. This fact, just for the sake of intensity, this fact came from when I was watching a video completely unsourced. I don't remember.
Right.
I don't remember where the video was. I don't remember what I was doing that night, but
You saw it.
it stuck with me. And it was talking about how laundry mangle accidents were a big deal in Victorian era, as well as many other things. People didn't live a long time because of sickness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a lot of sickness going around at the time, and on top of that, doctors weren't that good. Dentists literally like came to your house and put their feet on your chest and ripped your teeth out with like pliers and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Not a good time in
mortality rate was insane.
history. The Egyptians probably had better
The
medical.
Egyptians had better mortality rate, if you know what I'm saying. But anyhow, and that's what sparked the idea, was that they were just talking about how many children, young and on up into their teens, and also full-grown adult women, had died operating laundry mangles. Mm-hmm. And also at this time, we're talking manual laundry mangles.
Yeah, where you have to crank it physically yourself,
If
right?
you haven't seen one, it does have like a large crank on one side that is connected to two large, heavy steel rollers. And the weight of the top roller, it squeezes the moisture out of the clothes as you pull it through, as you crank it and pull it through. Generally
Seems
designed
pretty easy.
right, designed to be operated by multiple people.
Oh, okay.
Originally, it actually originated in the late 1700s, but then it kind of came to light in the early 1800s and really hit the Victorian era in like 1850.
Yeah, because now they didn't have to like scrub out their clothes and hang them out and
Right.
and let them hang dry for like a day.
If you look at very, very old advertisements for laundry mangles, they advertised it like everybody needed one, which is what everything does now.
Yeah.
And it worked
yeah.
because they were in all sorts of homes, and you can actually still find them in some like commercial laundry cleaning facilities today.
Okay.
But anyhow, I started doing some research on this because I was interested in knowing how you could die in a laundry mangle. First
That
thing I
seems
came
hard.
up with was children drowning in the water when parents weren't paying attention. That was the first thing I came up with, and I thought, okay, all right, that's possible. Second thing that I came up with was children dying doing other things while someone was operating the laundry mangle instead of watching the children.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, okay,
That's a little odd.
All
How do you
right.
not notice a baby on
sure, but possible. But I continued searching until I found exactly what I wanted. Because if you search long enough on the internet, you'll find exactly what you want. And this is tales of babies and children being mangled in a laundry mangle. There are newspaper clippings. There is obituaries. There is all sorts of stuff that you can find from the past and present.
and present?
But mostly the past, because more people used laundry mangles back then. This started children getting their fingers stuck, children drowning in the water. These are like, okay, I guess. I don't know why you weren't around watching your baby with the laundry
While
mangle.
you were physically operating it.
And then baby gets both arms stuck all the way up to the shoulders. And I'm thinking, that would have to take two people because one arm's got to be cranking.
Yeah.
While the other two arms,
Yeah.
that equals three, are in the laundry mangle. And I'm thinking, that's really weird. How would that happen? Lips.
Lips? As in on your face.
Yes.
Okay.
Ears. Legs. Both legs.
What?
These are stories. Not just like Reddit stories. These are like newspaper clippings and like news clippings
Yeah.
from the era.
Okay.
Children and young adults dying this way. And this will be like child found with all of the skin missing from their arms because it got sucked into a laundry mangle and died there. I want to tell you, I've had my fingers crushed pretty bad. You would not keep rolling that roller. As it's sucking your arm up, it degloves you, essentially, which means it pulls all the skin off of your hand and your arm. And these people were in up to their shoulders with all the skin missing from their arms. They got their head stuck in the laundry mangle.
That seems impossible.
Impossible. Exactly.
That seems impossible.
That seems entirely and completely impossible. So I got, that makes you wonder, like, why?
I would think it would rip your head because it's a small area.
Yes.
That's squeezing laundry through.
Well, so
Like,
the top roller on not all models, but on a lot of models, it's weighted and it's in a track on top. That way, as you're moving clothes through, it can move up and down, but it's still putting pressure down. It's the weight of the roller on the clothes, but it can move up and down.
Okay.
So if you get your hands into it, it will open further and further, but the immense weight of it is still going to pull all the skin off. It's going to deglove your hands.
Jesus.
So that leads you to think, why are children dying and young adults and women dying this way?
Yeah.
How is that possible? Its mortality rate is bad.
Do you have a percentage?
I don't. But I told you 57% of children died before they hit age 5.
Yeah.
Children didn't make it very far in that age, unfortunately. But it makes you wonder, how?
Yes. That's what I'm wondering.
Why would that happen?
I'm just wondering how. Like, how do you not know your baby's on there and getting sucked through it as you're cranking it to dry clothes?
That's what I'm saying.
Vice
is that
versa. How's the...
That seems impossible. Pretty much all the stories, except for the occasional baby drowning and the occasional baby getting hurt doing something while you're doing the laundry mangle, both of those are believable because that's just negligent parenting. That happens.
Yeah.
And like, But how do you send your kid up to his shoulders through the laundry mangle on accident? Or, like the papers described it, how did the kid send himself through the laundry mangle?
Oh, they try to say it was the kid.
They said
did
that it would have, like, the parents would come home and the kid would be stuck in the laundry mangle. That's the story.
Doesn't even make sense.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to think, why would that happen? Mm-hmm. The parents had to have killed the child.
Why?
Or someone had to kill the child. Why? That is a good question. Well, I was looking into it. Being a woman in the Victorian era was either a good thing or a really, really bad thing. Normally, it was a really, really bad thing.
I'd imagine so, because they had like no rights. And
They had
terrible.
like no rights. I was looking into what is known as a foundling hospital, which is essentially a foundling hospital takes abandoned children.
Okay.
Or children that maybe a mother could not take care of anymore.
Okay. Basically an orphanage.
Yes. And I told you that this episode was going to be dark. But your child, you couldn't just, this wasn't like you go and you drop your child on the porch and you leave. Your child had to be accepted, right, into one of these foundling homes because it like takes money to take care of them and everything like that. Throughout the 19th century, at just one foundling hospital, which is kind of like the foundling hospital, apparently. It's called the Foundling Hospital, actually.
Oh.
In London, it was founded in 1739, but in just the 19th century, which is mostly the Victorian era, 4,500 women gave their children to the Foundling Hospital. But in order to get your child accepted, the mother needed to submit a written petition to prove that they were of previous good character and that they had only fallen into criminal conversation, is how it's described. The reason these women were dropping off children...
Because they wanted to harm their child.
Well, not necessarily. Oh. Bear with me here. It was either that, but maybe. It was either that they could not take care of the child anymore, or it was because they gave birth to a child outside of wedlock, and you would be rejected and you wouldn't be able to get jobs. There would be no sense of employment for you if you were a woman that had a child out of wedlock.
Okay.
So you would have to leave them at this hospital, but they would have to get accepted. And for them to get accepted, you had to write out and tell people what you did in the past sexually that led this to happen and what you had done so wrong that you were now having a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
You had to announce this to a panel judged by men.
Of course.
Who were judging you and deciding whether or not they were going to take your children. And there are numerous accounts of women killing themselves with their children in Victorian era because of this sort of thing happening.
Jeez.
And also numerous accounts of men trying to force the women to kill themselves or kill the children.
Wow.
Because the dude didn't want the child, and if the dude was having a baby with this lady out of wedlock, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It was a problem at the time, and so he would try and get the woman to kill herself or kill the child, have the baby in secret, and then kill the child. And with such a high mortality rate at the time and such shame thrown upon people who had these children outside of wedlock, in comes all of these sudden children dying in laundry mangles at young ages. A large appliance capable of killing a child that just so happens to be in every home and operated.
And you don't have to do it with your own hands.
You don't have to do it with your own hands. Whether it be leaving the child with the mangle or doing it yourself.
Yeah, wow.
Far out there. But I'm just saying, there was accounts of women killing babies or leaving them in the woods.
Yeah.
Throwing them off bridges into the water, that sort of thing, because of the shame that was associated with having a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
So when you ask the question, why would people be killing babies in laundry mangles? Because it would look like an accident.
Weren't you saying that it got to such an extreme from the amount of people that were dying to the mangle that they actually like outlawed them?
I heard of that in some places. I have no way of validating that, but there were some places where they did, at the very least, change the design of the mangle. Once a new design had come along, they were pushing the old mangles out because it was considered to be very dangerous.
Yeah.
They're still considered to be dangerous because they are essentially. But
We need to get one so we can
we need to
test
get
it
one
out.
so we can test this out. But when you're wondering how a kid got both of his hands stuck in the mangle
Yeah.
and then died there, he couldn't have done it himself.
Yeah.
It was portrayed in the newspaper as an accident. Hard to portray throwing your baby into the ocean as an accident. Hard to portray throwing your baby into the woods as an accident. Mm-hmm. If you try and bring him to the foundling house, people know what you've done
Yeah.
and you are shamed. Got to make it look like an accident.
Yeah.
Drowning in the bathtub, that happened a couple of times. Drowning in the laundry mangle, that happened a couple of times. Then the baby caught in the laundry mangle. Sometimes the women died in the laundry mangle. How does a full-grown woman kill herself in a laundry mangle?
Yeah. Now I'm with you.
What do you think? I mean, like, obviously that's way out there, and like it could have no connection at all. But just given that information that I just gave you, what do you think?
I'm thinking it was an easy tool to use for what you said.
An easy tool to use. At the beginning, I said that the laundry mangle was a tool designed for mangling babies, and that might be a stretch. But it did happen to come along in Victorian era at a time where that needed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why it came into...
No,
I don't think that's why it was brought into the homes, but I definitely don't think... I think it had to have been used for that.
Innovation breeds opportunity.
Yes, very true. Sinister, but true. That's what I'm saying. That's all I got to say about that.
No, I mean,
Like I said, it's not super factual. That was just from a little bit of digging.
conjecture.
What?
Conjecture, that's what it is.
Oh,
Taking the facts and then spinning a story because the stars and the dots line up.
oh, okay. There was a lady who was named Annie Culver. Mm-hmm. Her story's been written in like a few books and stuff. That's how I was able to find it when I was looking this stuff up online. But she was a housemaid, and when she became pregnant, the father of the child told her that she had to drown herself,
Wow.
and said that he would help her do it
Wow.
if she needed to.
Such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy.
He's like, I'll help you do it.
Well, if he would help a pregnant woman drown herself, think he might send a baby through a laundry mangle?
Oh, yeah.
I think he probably would. Seems like the easiest thing to do.
I mean,
That pretty much excuses the children that drowned in the laundry mangle. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I said it was going to be dark, but it's been on my mind. I had to get it out.
Yeah. And the conspiracy's there.
The conspiracy's there. It is. I know it's just relevant to talk about. We might get some backlash from this one. That's okay.
I mean,
At least we get something.
I don't think there's nothing to backlash about. I mean, it comes down to where
It's a dark subject. We don't normally talk about dark subjects.
we
but
try to keep it light.
We try and keep it light. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. An interesting point because base level, just looking it up without doing any research, you will be shocked at how many people have died in laundry mangles. When you think about the mechanics of a laundry mangle.
Yeah. Which is a giant crank and two giant roller pins.
I've had my hand on a laundry mangle before. Granted, it's been a little while, but it's not like you crank that thing going like a Stanley steamer and it just like, and then it starts going.
Yeah, no.
You know, these weren't electric mangles. These were hand cranked mangles that managed to get people's entire arms sucked into them. That would require a third party. Because if you were doing it yourself, you wouldn't get past your
As soon
fingertips.
as it meets the resistance, it'd stop.
Exactly. That's by nature. That's what would happen. We're going to have to call this episode something intense.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Maybe NSFW too.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we don't have to mark it as explicit according to iTunes. So
Yeah.
it's good. We gave a warning at the beginning. We're coming up at about, I don't know, actually, because the clock didn't start at 0 like it was supposed to, but it was about 15 minutes. That's kind of how long I wanted it to be.
Okay.
I just had to get it off my chest. You know,
No, I get it.
I'm about to go on a trip. I don't want that. I can't have that weight.
It was something to just talk about.
I can't have that weighing on my
because-
shoulders while I'm on vacation.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Successful minicast. We need to do more minicasts. If anyone out there has an idea for maybe a small subject they would like us to talk about,
Oh, yeah.
we're open to it. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. You can find us on Patreon. You don't need to donate to send us a message, but you do need to donate to earn our respect. That's not true. That's true. Okay, it's not true.
I know it's not true.
But anyhow, send us a message. We would like to talk about your subject on an episode. We would like to do call-ins. That would be cool.
That would be
Get
cool.
call-ins on. We have the technology.
Do we?
Yep. Had to think about it. No, we could do that. We could do that. Something that interests you, subject, or you want to be a call-in, shoot us a message. Like I said, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Thanks to our patrons for supporting us. Thanks to our listeners for listening to us. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the NC Squared Conspiracy Podcast.
Indeed. Goodbye.